Welcome to I Am the Cute One, the most chaotic school dance in the podcast universe.
Let's spike the punch, grind to usher, and talk about our favorite topic, ourselves.
Hello, I am Donny and I am the cute one.
And I'm Chelsea and I am the cute one.
And today we're covering Jumanji, the original.
The scary one. Now, a couple of disclaimers right at the top. If you're watching on YouTube, you might notice something different behind Donny, something different behind me. We'll get into all of that next TGIF. We simply don't have time to get into it today because, another disclaimer, you and I watched this movie about 3 weeks ago at this point, Donny. We watched it, we were prepared to cover it, and then you moved. I was hosting everybody in Maryland for Christmas, so God knows what my notes are going to say, because it is like looking at a riddle of some sort of the things that past me said that made sense to me at the time, and we'll see if present me understands a goddamn word I said.
Okay, well, I'm glad you gave that disclaimer because I brought a warning of my own, but the warning from me is that I only watched 20 minutes the first time we were supposed to record because I was so busy, and that's why we ultimately had to change the date we recorded. But then today I finished watching it in the morning, but I am in the height of moving and unpacking and doing all of that. So my brain is broken. I was looking at my outline. I called Judy Sarah the entire time until I was finishing, and I was like, why are there two women named Sarah? So then I did a find and replace Sarah to Judy, but now that means there's two Judys running around, so it's possible that none of this episode will be accurate. So if you're a Jumanji fan, this one might not be for you.
Maybe. You know, if you're coming here for the hard-hitting facts about the Jumanji that came out in the 90s, look elsewhere. But if you're here to listen to nonsense, specifically nonsense that involved my daughter, you are in the right place, because I did watch this movie with my girls. I never know with kids' movies from the 90s if they are actually kids' movies or if they are just movies that kids watched. And I wasn't sure because my girls are so willy-nilly, so all over the place about what scares them. I didn't know if this would be scary for them. And I am here to report it was terrifying. I think I did scar at least one of them.
And I knew that. And I became what I hate most, Chelsea, and that's that man that hid by my trash can with the mask. Because I still talk about him to this very day, so clearly he made an impression. And yet I thought it would be fun. Now, because I was visiting you during the holiday season, I felt like I shouldn't come empty-handed. So I did bring a gift for the girls. And at first, that gift was Don't Step in It, the Hasbro game, which we saw at some department store or whatever when we were shopping, and there
Stocked
it was
shelves.
30 copies of Don't Step in It, where famously it is the game where you make little Play-Doh poops and do exactly what the title suggests. Don't step in it. But then, since it was right after this, and I knew that story about Sapphire, I said, let me also buy Jumanji. So I did. And if that wasn't enough, I placed the game down on your coffee table with my phone underneath playing tribal drums.
So that when she exited the bathroom, she heard the sweet, sweet siren song of the game and did discover Jumanji. Now, luckily, enough time had passed between this harrowing viewing experience and when you were in town that she didn't fully remember what the game was. She was just excited for another game. But as soon as Coco opened it up and started playing, Sapphire took 3 steps back. She refused to even roll the dice, touch any of the players. She was like, I've seen this film. You can get tricked into playing, and I'm not getting sucked into the vortex for 30 years. No, thank you.
And that's fair. That's a smart cookie we got on our hands.
We sure do. But throughout this process, throughout all of my notes, I have a ton of commentary from the girls because much like you watching a movie with me at the Alamo Draft House, my daughters do like to watch movies and treat it as an interactive viewing experience with just a director's cut from the audience.
Oh, great. I can't wait to dive into that. This movie premiered December 15th, 1995. One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men was the #1 song in the United States. Toy Story was #1 at the box office, with this movie as #2, and Father of the Bride Part 2 as #3. Also, Playboy went back on sale in Ireland after a 36-year ban.
Luck of the Irish.
Yeah, we'll show some titties in 95.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
If today's episode makes you laugh or scream or show your Irish titties, do us a favor Leave us.
Or alienate and piss off your entire Irish fan base.
No, I do very well in Ireland. No, I'm thinking of Australia.
Yeah, the Australian cuties love us.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Irish because anytime Ireland comes up, I make you say, what's your bun's name? Go ahead, pronounce it for us.
Share Shock. Leave us a 5-star review. We also now offer ad-free versions of our episodes on Patreon, and one of the worst jokes I've ever made is there as well. So if you want to hear it,
Yeah, if you thought that we had already gone too far with our Irish bit, you haven't seen anything yet because I did have to cut the last part of Donnie's punchline.
sorry. Head to patreon.com/I am the cute one.
Also, if you're listening to this on Monday, speaking of Patreon, we are doing our Traders Express live on Patreon tonight, January 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern. The replay will be available. We have pre-show interviews with the cast. We've been really milking it because this cast is chef's kiss perfection. So tune in to the Patreon. If you're tuning in live, you will get to influence gameplay at parts. And yeah, I think it's going to be a rockin' good time.
As someone that's already watched the first 3 episodes of season 4, I'm happy and sad to announce that the cast we have for Traders Express is a million times better than the cast this season.
Yeah, their pre-show interviews gave more razzle-dazzle than a couple of the people on screen on Peacock.
Unfortunately. Anyway, let's get into some background information on this Jumanji that we're covering today. It was based on the novel by Chris Van Allsburg, who also wrote Zathura and The Polar Express. And then the movie was written by Jonathan Hensley, who wrote Armageddon. It was directed by Joe Johnson, who also directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, The Page Master, Jurassic Park 3, and Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
We need to add Page Master to our list. That was a formative film from my childhood.
I remembered liking it, and I think I had maybe Pizza Hut tie-in promo toys.
I'm sure, because one thing about you is you will find a Pizza Hut tie-in toy if it happened in the 80s or 90s.
They were good. First of all, I would never turn down a Pizza Hut. I was walking through my neighborhood. Guess what I saw? A Pizza Hut.
They're coming back.
I know. You know what they say, Chelsea? You can't out Pizza the Hut.
They do say that. I've heard that before.
This movie cost $65 million to make and brought in a whopping $263 million.
Whoa, baby.
I know. Also, Robin Williams was nominated for Best Movie Actor at the Kids' Choice Awards, but lost to, you guessed it, the Kids' Choice Awards, Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Of course, because why not?
What's a kid's movie if you're not being shit out of a rhino's asshole? Now, Roger Ebert gave it 1.5 stars and said, season entertainment with ads that show Robin Williams with a twinkle in his eye. The movie itself is likely to send younger children fleeing from the theater or hiding in their parents' arms. Whoever thought this was a family movie? The MPAA rates it PG, not even PG-13. Must think kids are made of stern stuff. The film is a gloomy, special effects extravaganza filled with grotesque images, generating fear and despair. Even for older audiences, there are few redeeming factors, because what little story there is serves as a coat book for the special effects sequences, which come out of nowhere and evaporate into the same place.
My goodness. And I hate
know.
to agree with old Raj, but
Look no further than Sapphire's.
terror.
Yeah. This is the part you always forget. Let's see if you remembered. My own personal Jumanji game. We're going to the taglines.
I did it this week.
Oh, wow. Is that what you were just typing before?
No,
we got
I was
to...
typing the 1-minute synopsis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine is, it's all fun and games until...
Now, are we going to be including the pointing with the
Yeah,
thumb?
it's Robin Williams on a cardboard cutout like this. I love an interactive movie poster. You know the Titanic one I had life-size in my room when I was in middle school.
You took it from a grocery store.
It would fit right here if only I had access to it.
If only. My tagline is, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh, I do love that. The real ones are, roll the dice and unleash the excitement. The second one's a little better. Are you game?
You know, that sounds a little too similar to a famous Lance Bass magazine cover.
And third, it's a jungle in there.
Okay. A little on the nose, but
Well, that used to be my yearbook theme, remember?
I hate that my answer to all of these remember questions is yes. I
But
don't
look,
love that.
now
about
that I
my
have a
life.
bookshelf, Chelsea, it's a jungle in there.
I'm frightened for what this means for me and the cuties. Because we know you love making people look through a yearbook, and we are a little bit too close to comfort for you just being able to walk across your room and grab one.
Well, what's the best part is this is the yearbook I'm in 72 times. So we could open to any page, basically. Well, I open to the sports section, famously the only section I'm not in. But we could open to any page, and there I'll probably be.
Maybe one day we'll do a Patreon bonus episode where you just scan the
Go
pages.
through every... Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, hanging up on that bookshelf behind me is The Haunted Hotel, written by Donny Hadfield, age 8.
Classic.
Yeah, moving on.
Like what you're hearing? Head to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne for more.
There you can find uncut, unedited, and unhinged video and audio footage of current episodes.
That's patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. See you there.
Some trivia about this film. Kirsten Dunst loved working with Robin Williams, particularly his impression of Nell ordering at a McDonald's drive-thru.
Oh, no. And I do think that when we have our Morally Corrupt month, we have to add Nell to the mix.
And then I think I'll do an impression of her at a McDonald's drive-thru.
Yeah, but it will be an homage to one of the greats,
to
Robin
Robin.
Williams.
Of course.
Yeah. I do love that that's a talking point. That was clearly something that she specifically stated to press outlets for it to become a trivia fact on Wikipedia or whatever. Like, she went out of her way to specifically cite Nell going through a McDonald's drive-thru.
What if she gave that interview when he passed? And they were like, how did you like working with him? And that's the story she gave.
Honestly, if that's how I am remembered, of bringing joy to people with my impressions, it's an important legacy to leave behind.
Whenever people ask why I'm on this earth, which is surprisingly often, I do always say I'm here to bring people joy. Whether that is small scale, like in my home. I used to say it on dates. Like, well, whether it's bringing you joy one-on-one, that is fine. Or if I get to be on like a reality show, that's great as well. And in between, I have a podcast like that.
I know you have a boyfriend, so you've been locked down, or more realistically, you've locked someone else in your cellar. But I really do wish that you had a dating show when you were out in the streets, because everything about that story is completely diabolically unhinged, that you had an elevator pitch for how you bring joy to the world.
Well, here's the thing. I said it genuinely one time, and they were like, oh, that is beautiful. So then I was like, oh, I have to remember this.
Got to work it into the bit for your Type 5.
Yeah. Tim Curry passed on the role of Van Pelt, the hunter, and when nobody else could accept the role in time, it was offered to the actor playing Alan's father. That's why he played both parts. It wasn't written like that.
Oh, I thought it was so clever it was like that.
I know, me too.
Huh.
Also, Scarlett Johansson auditioned for the role of Judy, and Bruce Willis and Tom Hanks were offered the role of Alan, but both turned it down due to other commitments. Production was hesitant to give the role to Robin Williams because of his reputation for heavy improvisation.
Huh.
He said, I know this movie has a very strict story that we have to stay with. I will not be improvising.
No
And
Nell
then he
in
got
the
the role.
drive-thru.
No, not for this one. Let me take a sip of water because this is quite a long list.
You know, who says you weren't in those sports pages of that yearbook? That's like watching a halftime show.
Kim Cattrall, Jamie Lee Curtis, Julia Roberts, Jodie Foster, Sandra Bullock, Madonna, Demi Moore, Michelle Pfeiffer, Meg Ryan, Sharon Stone, Jennifer Tilly, Joan Cusack, Helen Hunt, Julianne Moore, Heather Locklear, and Terry Hatcher were considered for the role of Sarah. And
Wow.
Kirstie Alley was offered the role of Sarah, but had to turn it down because she was filming It Takes Two. Now listen, Jumanji's a cute little movie, but if it would have been Kirstie Alley and Bruce Willis, this would have been my favorite movie of all time.
No. I love Bruce Willis. Don't want to besmirch the man, but Kirstie Alley, Robin Williams is the lineup.
This movie's... I'll say it. No, I love Robin Williams, and that's what I'm saying. This movie's wasted on Robin Williams, kind of. This movie doesn't need a Robin Williams. Jack needs a Robin Williams. Mrs. Doubtfire needs a Robin Williams. This movie could have been Bruce Willis.
Okay.
The new ones have The Rock, for God's sake, Chelsea.
And Jack Black.
That's true. Playing a high school girl brilliantly.
Brilliantly. I can't wait for that movie to turn 10 because I have lots of thoughts. Positive ones.
I think next year.
Oh,
Crazy.
brother.
What character, if any, do you identify as?
I do think that and I also don't know any of these people's names, by the
Okay.
way. I think that I am, what's her name?
Who?
Interview with the Vampire Girl.
Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
Judy.
What a weird reference. Spider-Man's right there.
Bring it on, it's as well.
I am Kirsten Dunst's character. I love a good fib, love to skip school, and I do like games when they're on my terms and I'm the one making people play.
Okay, I would say that's true about you. I say I'm Alan because when he curses out Peter for cheating, I out loud said, that's real. Chelsea, 1 minute's on the clock. Pretend you're playing Jumanji. Give us a recap.
This is the origin story of that person in your friend group who forces fun. This movie is a cautionary tale of what happens when you're forced to play board games.
Wow. It's 1869. Hey. And two boys are burying something in the woods with the prayer that God has mercy on the soul of whoever finds it. Fast forward 200 years, where Alan Parrish is your typical suburban white boy, riding his bike, running away from bullies, hiding in the shoe factory of his father, and ruining the dreams of black people.
I did not remember this shredding shoes storyline.
Me neither.
What the fuck?
I know.
Like, I know it's to show, like, he's having a real bad day, but you know who I would argue is having a worse day? The man who's being fired because you don't want to confess to your dad. You know what I would have done if I was Soul Man? And that's what they call him, which we'll get into what ages like Blockbuster.
I can't wait to cover that for Morally Corrupt Month. I told you about it numerous times, yes?
I believe so, but why don't you remind, for any new cuties that have hung on with us through the first 20 minutes of this episode.
I'm sure they've seen it, but it's a movie about this man who wants to get into college with, what's it called?
Oh, affirmative action. I shouldn't have said it so soon. I would have loved to hear you describe affirmative action.
It's the story of this man who wants to get into college with affirmative action, so he goes undercover as a black man, only to fall in love with a black woman, and hilarity ensues, and he learns a little thing along the way.
I'm sure he does. Anyway, if I was Soul Man from this movie and not from that one,
right.
You know what I would do?
Tell us.
I would tell the dad. I wouldn't be taking the fall for this kid.
No, but he was creating the shoes on his own time.
And here we go.
Well, no, you're ratting yourself out.
Union Buster Donny. But he had a meeting with the guy. So clearly the boss knew that you were going to present something. And I would say, where are the shoes? Oh, so your son right now is giving me a super guilty look as he like looks at me forlornly and walks away. He's the one that did it.
Okay, that's true. Also, I really thought, because I forgot the beginning of this movie completely, I really thought that, like, after the shoes came out like that, they were going to be like, wow, this is a hot new look.
Banana, shredded shoes.
That is, until he hears the tribal drums of whatever was buried 200 years ago and sneaks into a construction zone to uncover it and finds a board game. And when he brings it home, he drops the game pieces on the board by accident before his parents congratulate him. In honor of him getting his ass beat that afternoon, he's being sent away to boarding school. But maybe Alan doesn't want to be a Parrish, so he packs his best clothes, some Miracle Whip, and prepares to run away.
I learned a couple things from this scene.
Okay.
Number one, Coco, enthralled by this point in the movie, she turns to me and she says, "Why is this butler being so mean to him?" And it was at this point in time that I learned that she thinks that every British man in a tuxedo is a butler.
Huh. Well, not to alienate another audience, but maybe they should be.
But this was such a trope, I feel like, in the 90s of being, like, sent off to boarding school.
Why does he have a British father? Do we ever know?
Well, I mean, people can have British parents. You know the stand I take. I would argue that British people should just play British people. So we didn't need this man pretending to have an American accent. I'm looking at you, Emma Watson. So I think that they're just a fancy family from the UK that have immigrated to the United States.
But the mom doesn't.
You know that people can get married from other countries, Donnie.
I built that bookshelf this week, Chelsea. I built this couch. That's a TV I have to hang up. I'm exhausted.
Okay, so you and Coco have some things to sort out about British people.
Until he's interrupted by his friend Sarah, a young Laura Bell Bundy with a nose that I thought was a plot point. And although he's And although he's on the run, he does have time for a round of Jumanji. So after Sarah rolls the dice, she's warned of winged things that aren't much fun. And when Alan drops the dice again, the game tells him his fate. In the jungle, he must wait until the dice reads 5 or 8. And he doesn't have time to figure out what that means when he's sucked into the game and Sarah's chased out of the house by bats. Now, I did see you scoffed and held your head, but Chelsea, I love Laura Bell Bundy, famously Elle Woods on Broadway. I thought it was a prosthetic, and I thought we would get a follow-up line later. We never did. And I think, more importantly, I think if we are going to not make a prosthetic to put Bonnie Hunt in said nose, I think that we should. We had to make a line about her being a psychic, but not getting a nose job.
The things that you choose to circle back on. That moment had passed. We could have all done a collective groan. Oh, that's just Donny being Donny. But then you have to go and double down and bring us back. Our very own Dax Shepard.
Well, that's how I feel. Now I understand why he does it. Tell me why my boyfriend's too good for me. 26 years later, Bebe Neuwirth is turning Alan's former home into a bed and breakfast and moves her niece and nephew, Judy and Peter, because her brother's dead, you see, in with them. The kids are handling it differently. Peter isn't speaking to anyone other than Judy, and Judy isn't telling the truth. My mom always wanted to open a bed and breakfast. It's not her dream anymore. But I think I would have done very well in a family business of a bed and breakfast.
Of course you would have, because it would have been like literally no work-life balance because your family would be the business.
Yeah, but then also I get to meet new people, sometimes men.
Okay, and I believe as a child, it would be like bed, breakfast, and being forced to watch young Donny perform a monologue or perhaps a song.
Yeah, Bed Bath and Beyonce. As Peter explores the attic, he sees a bat. An African bat that couldn't possibly be in New England, even though a girl claimed to see the same kind 26 years ago. But animal control tells the kids the bat should be the least of their worries about this house. After all, Alan Parrish's father probably killed him and hid the body in the walls.
There's 1,001 places they could have hid the body in this house. Like, come on, man. Speaking of work-life balance, just do your job.
Yeah, but to be fair, the realtor should have told them that. It's
true.
Against the law not to.
No, that's only if there is a murder in the house, but it was never proven. So that's a loophole, I believe.
Okay.
Plus, there was a British guy and an American woman married in that house, so God knows what the rules are.
That's true. That's the worst of your problems.
Can you imagine if the Now and Then girls had met this exterminator? They would have at least finally had a mystery on their hands.
You're right.
Just a lore drop like that. They wouldn't need to be digging up graves.
Or breaking mirrors. That night, Judy and Peter are awakened by the tribal drums, and the next morning they hear them again. And this time, they refuse to ignore them. So they follow the sounds to the attic where they find the game. And they decide to play. First, Judy, who rolls and is attacked by mosquitoes. And then Peter, who brings monkeys into their home. But this isn't enough to be finished playing. The two return to the attic where Judy decides to read the rules. And this reminded me of Death Becomes Her when they say, "And now a warning. Mm-hmm. Adventurers beware. Do not begin unless you intend to finish. The exciting consequences of the game will vanish only when a player has reached Jumanji and called out its name." Is Coco still obsessed with it, or did it fizzle out?
Oh, no, she's still obsessed. She plays every night by herself.
My favorite thing about when I bring gifts that are not toys to your home is that Coco always brings them to bed like it's a stuffed animal. Whether it's Hungry Hungry Hippos, Jumanji, a terrarium.
Mm-hmm. Jumanji's now at that list. She surely did pack it up New Year's Eve and just scuttle off to bed.
So, Judy wants to keep playing until the game is over. Peter rolls a 5, and while his turn conjures a lion, it also brings back Alan, who has spent the last 26 years surviving in the jungle, so he knows how to ward off a lion, or at least trap one in a bedroom. And now that Alan is back, the first thing he wants to do is see his bedroom, which has been left exactly how it was. And the second thing he wants to do is see his parents. But it's been 26 years, so they're not there anymore. And so he runs through the town intent on finding them.
Let's just really quickly talk about logistics of this.
Yeah.
So we went through this during Beetlejuice, but I do feel like, generally speaking, even if you are buying a fixer-upper, even if you are transforming a place into a bed and breakfast, there should be an order of operations before moving in. And a shrine to a potentially deceased boy who's been chopped up and shoved in the walls, I feel like we could have cleared out that bedroom before we're moving the whole family in.
I agree. And especially because it was locked. And there is this rumor that the dad buried the son in the walls. So, like, he could have not been buried in the walls. He could have just been a corpse behind this locked door.
Yeah, it could have been the end of Psycho. You flip around that rocking chair and there he is.
Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, proud of you.
I am married to Dr. Bald.
Oh.
Also, in this room, there is a framed photo of his parents that he looks at.
Uh-huh.
The photo is from the night he disappeared. This was the photo that was taken of the parents before they went to their fancy gala. No wonder people thought that they killed their son. Why would you frame that photo? That's like a serial killer returning to the scene of the crime. That is crazy.
On the way, he runs into the black shoemaker Carl, now a cop, who almost arrests him until the monkeys steal the cop car, leaving him to run through the town like Forrest Gump, back to his father's factory that is now an abandoned trash heap. Luckily, an unhoused squatter is there to tell him his parents are dead. And so, Judy and Peter bond with him over having dead parents. But their time for starting a Dead Parents Club is cut short when they witness a car accident at the hand of deadly mosquito bites. And while that sucks for whoever was behind the wheel, it does leave the car open for Alan to steal and try to get away from the mosquitoes, heading back to Judy and Peter's house. And this scene, Chelsea, reminded me of 911's Beanado.
Come again.
As you already know, there was a truck transporting millions of killer bees. It did get in a car accident, and then they swarmed a tornado, which is what got into the propeller of the airplane that made it crash into the other one that Angela Bassett had to land on the highway. But before we got to that airplane, we dealt with it on the ground level. And on the highway, there was a mom and a daughter who's allergic to bees.
Oh, no.
Only one EpiPen. And the bees are swarming the windows. They're stuck in there. And they're like, oh my God, we can't leave. We can't leave. Hopefully 911 will come to get us. And then bzz, a bee comes through the air conditioning vent.
Oh, no. Just like in The Happening.
I know.
Those vents get you every time.
You'd think just to not use an air condition, but as someone who sweats easily, I'd rather have a bee sting.
Now, this was the point of the movie that Sapphire had enough. Leading up to this point, as soon as they started playing the game, we got the bats, we got the lion, we got all the things. She was terrified, clearly terrified, clinging to me, voicing her displeasure, but she was trying to get Coco to not like the movie. So she would say things like, "This isn't a very good movie, huh?" Or, "I don't think that you like this movie, huh?" And Coco, meanwhile, jaw open, just eating it up, loved the movie. Sapphire's plan was, if Coco gets us to stop, then I'm not leaving the viewing experience and I'm not having FOMO, essentially. Yeah. But with this car crash mosquito situation, she said, "This is sick." And then she had me draw her a bath. So she basically took to her proverbial fainting couch. So this is when we pushed pause as a family so that we could regain regulation before forging forward.
My old apartment had a bathtub, but I've lived there so long and two boys lived there that it wasn't clean enough to take a bath in. But this one is. So I might take a bath soon.
I love that for you.
Thank you. At his former home, Alan gives himself a little makeover that Tyra would be proud of, and the kids beg him to watch them finish the game. He refuses because of the PTSD until they use reverse psychology on him, calling him afraid until he observes. But the game won't work because there are 4 players in the middle of a game. Peter, Judy, Alan, and Sarah. The 3 find Sarah, still in her childhood home, and although she's clearly fucked in the head from previously watching her friend being sucked into a game before being attacked by bats, they trick her into rolling the dice, summoning deadly plants and vines to the living room.
Isn't this just like a man? To go from, this is a bad idea, I don't want to do this, to then forcing a woman to do it too?
Well, what has to be done has to be done.
I suppose so. The rules were right there.
And much like Maxwell said, ha, it is a woman's work, Chelsea.
Okay. Let's talk about strategy.
Okay.
If you were playing this game, how would you play? Because for me, just roll quickly. We know we have to finish the game. Just literally rapid fire, roll, pass, roll, pass, roll, pass. It's not like they have to do anything with the animals.
I agree. And yeah, okay, this is what I would do. I would go to a hotel with adjoining rooms because they appear in the room you're in. So if you start here, roll, a lion shows up, run to the next room, roll, monkey, roll to the next room, roll, cheetahs.
You would be like, remember that YouTube video of the one band who did in one shot their music video with all of the treadmills? It would be like that, but with rooms.
I also remember Silent House starring Elizabeth Olsen. Shot all in one take.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a scary movie. A thriller, if you will. Also, I remember Family Circus. That's how I'd be, with those dots coming behind me.
Those footprints.
Yeah. Not always footprints, sometimes a dotted line. It was only footprints in the snow or mud.
Pardon me, I didn't know I was with a Family Circus purist here.
The four make a pact to finish the game, even while summoning a hunter, stampedes of rhinos, elephants, and zebras. And while I'd personally be over it when a pelican steals the game, these four chase it to the river, where they bribe it with a fish. But turns out you can bribe a pelican, but you can't bribe the police. When Officer Carl arrests Alan and brings him in for questioning. And with Alan gone, Peter tries to cheat and is turned into a monkey. I know we have 2 Jumanji sequels about the video game after this one, and we're about to get a third one of that, 4th one of the franchise. But do we ever find out the origin of this game?
I don't think so. I think that we just see in the beginning like it's always existed or it's always been around to terrorize people.
You think it was in Garden of Eden? That's what the snake pushed?
I didn't assume it to be biblical, but perhaps.
If I created a game and I needed to punish people for cheating in some way...
This is horrifying. The glee in your eye. I know you built a bookshelf and you have to hang a TV stand, but the light just entered your eyes again.
I would make it where they were unable to finish the game. Like, I would make it where your hands fell off.
Speaking of biblical...
So then you're stuck with this all forever.
So you wouldn't make it a learning lesson. Like, you did this once, don't do it again.
In the original script, the longer he was a monkey, the more he even forgot he was a human.
I thought that was happening in the movie. Like, he was getting more and more monkey-ish. Like, he was progressively turning into a monkey throughout the film.
Yeah, but I think he still knew. He knew there was a goalpost here.
No, I think you're right, because I think it was meant to make you feel like he was forgetting, because then he stopped talking and you're like, what is that? And that's just when he like whispers that he needs a hole cut in his pants for his tail.
Right.
So you would make him want to slowly have ego death and forget who he was inside, a total identity crisis where he just does transform into a monkey.
No, I wouldn't do the monkey. I would do hands fall off. But you said in the movie, it's supposed to be a learning experience so you can see what you did wrong. But I don't think that's the case. How is seeing what you did wrong, being stuck in the jungle for 26 years, how is seeing what you did wrong turning into a monkey and forgetting you're human?
Okay. Well, I don't think that Jigsaw created this game, if it was from the Garden of Eden. I think that maybe the creators of Jumanji could have done a little bit more workshopping about the why, because I certainly have questions. When the boy turns into a monkey, the girls, by the way, back in the game, after we took our bath break, they came back because Coco wanted to keep watching. So then Sapphire basically was like, oh, fuck, all right, I guess I have to watch this movie now and torture myself. So they had both been watching with me, both very different viewing experiences. And this boy turning into the monkey really captured the fact that I am raising 2 very different children, because Coco said to herself, whispered whimsically, I wish this game existed. Now, you know, this bitch has been trying to figure out how to turn herself into a werewolf. She has been hypothesizing if the neighbor's dog bites her, maybe she can turn. She wants to be a werewolf so bad. This very morning on the way to the bus stop, she looked at me and said, I wish I was a wolf. And I said, well, then you wouldn't be able to read or draw. And she said, yeah, but I would find other things to do, like hunt prey. So she saw this boy turn into a monkey and she was like, I'm all in. Meanwhile, I've come today with supplemental material, Donnie.
Oh.
I can't believe I've kept this a secret from you, especially after you came to visit and we traumatized her with Jumanji all over again. It was at this point in the film that I started recording her reaction because I knew something good was happening because she was on the top of the Tower of Terror, the way she was clinging to me, breathing, screaming, etc. So here we go. I've brought something for the cuties today.
I want to say a bad word to describe this movie.
You can say it.
This is a stupid movie. What?
I gave you permission. That's okay.
It's really not that good.
When I gasped, she was such a goody two-shoes. She was like, what? Like, she wanted to make sure that I hadn't just trapped her. But she thought this movie was stupid.
I was so excited. I mean, that is a cute little clip. But I really thought she was going to be like, fuck this movie.
Imagine.
When she said, I want to say a bad word to describe this, I felt pregnant with delight.
One of these days that is going to happen because I'm always like, isn't it so cute that they think the worst words in the world are hate and stupid? One of these days they are just going to like drop the C word. Like, may I curse, Mom? Sure. You're a beep.
I hope it's when we're playing Hero Kids. Meanwhile, at the station, Carl finally realizes Alan is the child that got him fired 26 years ago.
This was crazy because he says, they called you Soul Man. And then the police officer says, I could have turned this whole town around. And Alan jumps back in and says, with your shoes. And this police officer turns around and goes, how did you know? Okay, well, there are other conclusions we can get to besides this is the boy that disappeared because you worked at Parrish Shoes Factory. So one would assume that if they called you Soul Man, S-O-L-E, and you could have changed the town, one would assume that it would have been shoe related. You know? Like, I'm glad that he got there eventually of like, oh, wow, you used to be a kid and now you're a caveman from a board game. But I feel like other people probably had knowledge in his hometown about where he used to work.
And this seemed like a small town as well. Keene, Connecticut, or whatever it's called. And the two of them head to the local department store when reports of gunshots are called in. It turns out this was a plan to lure Alan, through Carl, to the store by the hunter, and they fell into his trap. Not in his plan was the brakes of Carl's police car being broken and them crashing into him. Ha With the group reunited, Alan curses Peter out for cheating until he realizes he's acting like his father, and instead coddles him and promises him they'll turn him back into a real boy after they finish the game. And finish the game they try. They summon a monsoon complete with gators, quicksand, spiders, more poisonous plants that end up poisoning Judy to the verge of death, and an earthquake. And apparently, self-esteem. Because Alan is finally through with running and rolls one last final roll, ending the game after he yells, Jumanji. Can we talk about Sapphire playing the game?
Please.
Okay, I've never been more proud of a child in my entire life. I felt like I raised her in the woods, and this was finally us getting shoes and walking into town together because I
mean, I do say she is your biological daughter. That is a crazy backstory you've given the two of you, but you were gleeful because I didn't see it happen, and you grabbed my hand and you said, Chelsea, did you see that?
The game was presented with the drums underneath. Sapphire wanted nothing to do with it. Coco loved it. We tried to play as a little family unit, and that's when Sapphire was like, enough is enough. We're not doing this. So then me and Coco finished on our own, but then I was like, okay, without lions attacking, it is kind of boring game. Like all you
and
do
without
is
a 6-year-old having a panic attack, the stakes do seem lower.
Yeah. So after one round, I was like, that was fun, but I'm done. But Coco kept playing on her own. However, the more times she played on her own, the less it was a game and more of how when I play 13 Dead End Drive by myself, it's just like little action figures. You're just doing what you want to do. There's not really a structure there. So she was just pulling the cards.
If she was playing the real game, in your version, her hands would be falling off.
Oh, for sure. She'd be down to just a nose bouncing on it. She was just picking a card, reading it, rolling, reading. But then Sapphire was observing for a little bit and finally was brave enough to play again. So she said, I'll play with you. So then they played a little bit, but Sapphire was not here for the new rules. This is not the game she signed up for. She would have cut Coco's hands off too, I think, which my daughter, don't cheat. So then Coco followed her own rules and ended up winning, with Sapphire still like on square two. Somehow, with Coco in charge, Sapphire never got a turn. It was like, no, it's my turn again. It's my turn again. So, so then Coco wins, leaves the room, and Sapphire just sits there. And because this is just a child sitting on the floor by herself, I'm not paying attention to her. So then I look around, enjoy everything else that's happening, and I look back and she's still sitting there. And then I notice she's rolling and moving and rolling and moving. And then she ends in the final spot and yells, Jumanji! Coco runs back, and then Sapphire says, to win the game, you have to yell the name of the game, and you never did it. I win. So then Coco flipped out. Sapphire pulled up the rules and was flipping through it like it's a Cheesecake Factory menu to find where it said it.
She was a housewife at the reunion, bringing the receipts in large font for Andy and the audience to see.
It was so good. I've never been happier.
It was so good. And I usually try to play mediator and not take a side, but I 100% gave her this win because that took dedication. It took impulse control. She sat there quietly.
Yeah.
She knew her plan and she didn't cheat. She didn't just put her player in the end and say Jumanji. She earned that win. She rolled and rolled and rolled and got to the end. So Coco was so upset. And I said, that is the game. You did not yell Jumanji.
That's when I knew. For Big Brother 50, when I make the kids of my friends play Big Brother, that's when I knew we have a winner on our hands.
A chill just went down my spine when you said Big Brother 50. And that was before you introduced the Hunger Games element of it.
You were having a hard parental time trying to decide if you should give her the win or not, or take sides. But I high-fived her and said, that was incredible.
And she was so proud, too. Like, all of that excitement, she popped up when she yelled Jumanji. And what a beautiful tale of being terrified of a game to conquering it. You know, a real Cinderella story.
That's the sequel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
With the end of the game comes Alan and Sarah back in 1969, only 5 minutes after Alan got sucked in the game. Alan apologizes to his father and tells him the truth about Carl's shoes. His father tells him he can go to whatever school he wants, and Alan and Sarah throw the board game into the river, even though it means they'll never meet Judy and Peter. You win some, you lose some.
Well, they do meet Judy and Peter.
How?
You didn't finish the movie.
Oh, no. What's it say?
At the end, they're all grown up and they are successful, still living in that damn house. And they hire Judy and Peter's parents who come and they're like, we need you to start right away. And Judy and Peter's parents are like, okay, well, we're about to take this skiing trip. And they're like, no, don't. And then there is 10 minutes of them meeting Judy and Peter. Cuties, give us the month, let Donny unpack, and then we'll be watching the movies we're covering.
I'll be covering it next week, fully on board. Annie 2014.
Well, maybe now that the precedent has been set. I hate to do it, Donny. This was a great episode. We had fun. We laughed. We chuckled. We reminisced. We need to talk about the time travel implications of this film.
Okay.
They're back in time. And I understand that much like the monkey slowly forgetting that he's a human, it seems like we are led to believe that they will start to forget their previous lives because he says, I'd better do this before I feel too much like a kid. And then they kiss. So that means, number one, in the moment, you are an adult in a child's body kissing a child. Just want to put that out there. Number two, they don't forget because, as you were shocked to find out, there is a whole other scene where they have orchestrated a way of meeting Judy and Peter, who do not remember because they have not been sent back in time.
Right.
So this means we have two people, one of which has lived in society from 1969 to when this movie takes place already. We have two people with adult consciousness going back in time to then relive that time. That's crazy.
It is. And, sorry, an Allen wrench on the floor. How ominous. Alan, get it? It is crazy. And I don't know where I stand on it because I don't know what should have happened. Because I would have felt cheated if they went back to 1969 and like Wizard of Oz, they were like, oh, it was all a dream. Not a dream, but like they just forget. And it was like, oh, we finished the game.
Yeah. Or maybe they could have forgotten, and then when they see Judy and Peter, they then remember. Like they've been Men in Black, and then that makes them remember everything. I don't know. I just know I would rather die than have my consciousness transported into a child's body. If I woke up tomorrow and I was like in 6th grade and I had to do it all over again, give me the pain.
I would know how to cheat the system, and I would also know what year to pull the plug. I would buy Nazi suicide pills.
Is this a little game? Is this a New Year's resolution? Is this something that you've decided for 2026? You're going to try to sneak one in every episode?
When I think about an easy way to Allen wrench myself, it is just the pills. I don't want to hurt myself.
Patreon.com/I am the cute one, because Donny did find a way of bringing up these very pills in a Gossip Girl episode this week. So I guess stay tuned for more of that. Now, final thoughts. If we were to bring this movie to present day, who would you cast in the reboot, or what would the plot to a sequel be?
Okay, listen, I'm really proud of this. We're very end of days, so they make board games of apps now. So, like, we have apps that we play little games on, and then we have board game versions. Like, there's a board game version of Farmville. There's that board game version of the Ellen game, Heads Up, whatever.
I can't wait till they come with a board game version of the Project Makeover ads.
Oh, me
Not
neither.
the actual game,
No.
but like we get to saw off our own toenail with an Allen wrench.
But imagine a board game was being made of the Jumanji video game. So the Rock and Jack Black video game, then investors are like, let's make a board game of this, sell it to the masses. Not everybody has a phone. So they make a board game. And then this way we can somehow get Jack Black and the Rock, and then we'll also...
Do you want to rethink this idea? I see where it's going.
We'll CGI him.
AI!
I have a TV to hang.
If we went back to 1969 and we redid things and we changed things and it was possible, we could have the full cast.
I really thought I had something here.
Yeah, your brain is working hard. You're trying.
And then
Bless your
whoever
heart.
plays now would have to go back and talk to Judy and Peter. A Kirsten Dunst
Love it.
cameo. Great.
Perfect. I said we could do prequels because we know that this has always existed. We know this game is always trying to find kids to terrorize. So like a 1950s version, something that took place between the first time the game disappeared and the 90s version.
Love that.
Yeah.
A little doo-wop.
Yes. Doo-wop, doo-wop. What aged well and what aged like Blockbuster?
You know, ruining Carl's life made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that felt unnecessary to the plot, to the life. I think that they captured how easy it is to get a gun in our country shockingly well. You can decide which category you want to put that in, but that hunter surely did just slap down some gold bullets and walk out with an AK-47. And I think how scary it is. I think that current day Jumanjis are actually meant for kids, whereas, you know, one of my children did love this movie, but she's a little spooky scary herself. Her favorite book is The Dark, Dark Room with that girl in the green ribbon around her neck.
Right. Yeah, but kids are soft these days. Put it on the Joe Rogan podcast, because I agree with him. Here I am bald-headed and saying it. Kids are soft. In the 90s, this was a kid's movie.
Okay, well, I guess let's traumatize our children is what Donnie's saying. Give them the Nazi suicide pills.
And next week, we finally made it. I've tried to make you vote for it. You wouldn't listen. I had to wait a year or else it was cheating and I would turn into a monkey myself. But here we are, a fresh year. I can pick whatever I want. We're covering 2014 Black Annie.
Which, to be clear, cuties, for anybody out there who is like me and I Googled Black Annie because I thought that was the title of the movie. Nope, that's just what Donnie calls the 2014 version of Annie.
Did you really?
Yes, I was like, oh, let me get a head start and look for this. And so I Googled Black Annie. And then I was like, oh, well, here's the 2014 version, but it's just called Annie.
Yeah, Annie. It's really good. Cameron Diaz, role of a lifetime. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Love you like a sister. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to I Am the Cute One. If you want more, head to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne for uncut, unedited, and unhinged video and audio footage of current episodes, as well as even more bonus content.
And if you like what you heard, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and subscribe to our show. And to help us grow this community of chaotic cuties, share an episode with a friend you think would pass the vibe check.
And to see the madness, check out our YouTube channel, where video footage from all current episodes are posted weekly.
You can follow me at Real Donnywood on Instagram and all other social media platforms.
And if you want more of my personal brand of chaos, check me out at Oh No Chels.
Talk to you later. Love you like a sister.